The following is a Network Newswire audio production. As a multifaceted financial news and publishing company, Network Newswire uses its network of more than 5,000 key distribution outlets, as well as other corporate communication tools, to introduce private and public companies to a wide audience of investors, consumers, journalists, and the general public. Our reputation for highly efficient communication strategies is based on the experience and relationships our team has in the space. It is Network Newswire's unwavering commitment to connect the investment community with companies that have great potential and a strong dedication to building shareholder value. The following interview features a client of Network Newswire. Network Newswire may have been compensated for the production of this interview. Please be sure to read our entire disclaimer for full disclosure. Thank you, and here today as your host is Stuart Smith.
Welcome back, everybody, and thanks so much for joining us again for another online business briefing where we shine a spotlight on some of the smartest and freshest plays out there in the market today. Now, to that end, we are speaking to GoldHaven Resources Corp. The company's traded on the CSE, that's the Canadian Stock Exchange, under the ticker symbol GOH, and on the OTCQB here in the States under the ticker symbol ATUMF. I want you to be aware, though, the company is applying for a ticker symbol change that represents the company's name a little bit closer, so keep an eye out for that. That would affect that ATUMF ticker symbol. Of course, you'll be able to know that if you go to GoldHavenResources.com. Now, GoldHaven Resources is a great website. I want to introduce you now to the company's CEO, Dan Schieber. Dan, how are you today?
I'm fine, Stuart. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for taking the time to call in and speak to your company's shareholders, as well as the listeners for this program. And those listeners who may not be familiar with your company, if you would, let's talk about the company and its business model now. Certainly.
GoldHaven Resources is a Canadian junior exploration company. We've been active since March this year. We IPO'd on the CSE earlier in the year, and it was actually just when COVID was coming out, and Dow and the NASDAQ, and it was all falling. But we managed to get our IPO done and raise some money. What we have is a unique land position in the Maricunga belt of Chile. Maricunga, for those who are new to the story, is a 100-kilometer long by 35-kilometer wide district where there's been more than 100 million ounces of gold discovered during the last 10 years and 500 million ounces of silver. We are uniquely positioned in this belt with 7 assets. Luckily for us, we're also able to raise $2.5 million. So part of the business plan, Stuart, will be to drill several of our assets and start exploring here in Q1 of next year. In fact, our VP Exploration, Patrick Burns, he will be heading down to Chile as of Thursday this week, and we're going to get the programs organized and the drillers engaged and hired so we can drill and provide the market with results.
Excellent. Well, you've assembled a great team. You just mentioned your VP of Exploration. Let's talk about yourself as the CEO and some of the directors and management team around you.
Certainly. I started in fund management. I ran and advised a gold fund out of Augsburg. It was the best performing gold fund in Germany, 06, 07. Of course, not 08 because the financial crisis came. But many of the unit holders and people that were participants back in the day in this fund are still my clients. And for me, I've been trying to focus on recession-proof investments. And in 2013, I dedicated myself to investing in farmland in Canada. And along the way, I invested in different gold mining companies, both large caps, mid caps, and also some juniors. And I discovered what the recipe is for a junior company in the gold space to be successful, and that is simply 3 things. That is structure. Your share structure needs to be tight. Number 2, your management needs to be well-versed with capital markets, have access to capital and also marketing. And number 3, of course, the projects need to be something that is valuable. And so I think we have all 3 of those here for GoldHaven. Now, I decided to come on board and as a director on the board as well as CEO because I saw the value of the properties that Pat Burns brought to the table here, and that leads me to talk to you about Pat Burns. Pat is a geologist by background, and he was credited with the discovery of one of the largest mines in the world called Escondida in Chile. And then he went on to find another 1 million ounce deposit. He was the one who said to me, Daniel, let's take a look at these 7 projects that have been narrowed down from 400 original projects that they were reviewing. And now we have these projects where we're going to be exploring. So Pat Burns is, I would say, the life of the company, and I'm looking forward to seeing what results we bring from our initial exploration program.
Outstanding. Well, you brought up the company starting in March, and right, of course, as the global pandemic hit. As you look back on the year since March 2020, what do you see as some of the major milestones or what the company has been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time?
We managed to get this company going with its IPO, as you pointed out, during the pandemic, which was a very, very hard hit for us here in Canada as well as in the rest of the world. It speaks to the strength of our financiers and our partners funding this company because, just when everybody was hiding their checkbook, our people stepped in on the worst possible time. And fast forward to today, of course, the COVID hasn't disappeared, but our financial partners are funding us well. And that means, me, myself, and my friends are putting money in this company. And with the purpose of really seeing what it is that we have. You see, one of the projects that I love, Stuart, is Rio Loa. We're a stone's throw away from Salares Norte of goldfields, and we have identified a 3.5 kilometer long by a kilometer wide structure, an anomaly of alteration that is analogous to their deposit. And in their deposit, they will be producing 350,000 ounces of gold at a cash cost of around $600 an ounce every year. So it's a world-class deposit, what they have, and this is exactly what we're looking for, this world-class type of deposit. It is interesting to see what we found on surface with our aster imagery and with our Pathfinder element sampling. It looks like our arsenic and lead values are much higher than what they had over there at Salares. So you'll be seeing more results of our exploration there, but this is one of the 7 projects. I haven't even talked to you about the other, but this is one of the 7 which we will drill immediately once we start next year in January, most likely.
Well, very good. That's my next question. Let's talk about those other projects as we review the goals for the company here in the remainder of 2020 and into 2021. As you just pointed out, the drill program starting in January 2021. What are some of the things that you see operationally on your near horizon?
Yes, operationally, we will be conducting geophysics on several of our properties. We will be drilling several of our properties. And we will, of course, continue to look for other opportunities. However, I feel my company is stacked with good projects right now. We don't need to go and buy more assets. Yeah, and of course, it is going to be really interesting to start to see the market turn here for us. Gold today happens to be down another $30. Yesterday it was down $30 as well. I think the market is getting comfortable with the news that COVID has a vaccine and that Mr. Biden is coming in with Janet Yellen to run the U.S. The general stock market's been rallying here, and but one thing is a major premise for my involvement here and why I like to be in gold, and that is, the debasement of currencies. You cannot undo the amount of money printing the Fed has done and other governments around the world. you can't control this. The only way to control this type of money supply is by raising rates, and that would break the economy. So that argument is one of the most the strongest argument we have for gold as a means of preserving wealth. So your question as to what operationally we can do here is what we set out in our exploration plan, which is drilling 5,000 to 6,000 meters in Q1 and providing more results from surface sampling and geophysics.
Well, listeners, once again, we are speaking with Dan Schieber, CEO of GoldHaven Resources Corp, traded on the CSE under the ticker symbol GOH, on the OTCQB, currently under the ticker symbol ATUMF. You can learn more about the company at their website, GoldHavenResources.com. Dan, any closing thoughts or comments for the shareholders and listeners?
Thank you, Stuart. Yes, I would like to thank everybody who's listening, shareholders and non-shareholders alike. I would like to welcome you and invite you to be our shareholder. I'm available to you. My cell phone number is on the website, on the right, on a yellow box. This is an exciting time to be a shareholder of GoldHaven because we are fully capitalized, well-capitalized, well-funded. We have one of the best portfolios of assets in the highly prospective Maricunga, which has led to millions of ounces of gold discovery. So for anyone coming into the story right now, I think it's a phenomenal opportunity. Going with the premise that we believe in gold and we believe that gold will be a great hedge against dilution of currencies. I appreciate the time, Stuart, and the listeners, and as I said, I'm available for any further questions.
Well, Dan, we appreciate your time and your transparency and insight into your exciting young company. We expect great things from you, your company, here in 2020 and well beyond. Thanks for your time today, Dan.
Thank you very much.
All right, for Dan Schieber, this is Stuart Smith saying thanks so much for listening.
This audio interview is an original broadcast provided by Network Newswire, a multifaceted financial news and publishing company delivering a new generation of corporate communication solutions, including news aggregation and syndication, social communication, and enhanced news release services. Network Newswire may receive payments for corporate communications relations, as well as various press releases and social media solutions provided to its clients. You should assume that officers and directors of Network Newswire or financial analysts mentioned hold a position in and may intend to trade these securities for their own accounts. This interview is not an offer or recommendation to buy or sell securities. Information in this broadcast is presented solely for informative purposes and is not intended to be, nor should it be construed as, investment advice. As in all investments, an investment in the featured company carries an investment risk. Listeners should review the company thoroughly with a registered investment advisor or registered stockbroker. This audio interview by Network Newswire does not purport to be a complete study of the featured company or other companies mentioned. Information used in statements of fact have been obtained from the featured company and other sources, but not verified nor guaranteed by Network Newswire as to completeness or accuracy. Such information is subject to change without notice. Please see our full disclaimers and disclosures at networknewswire.com.